Welcome back. You're watching Mad About Markets, and we're talking about one of the most disruptive forces we've seen in the last few months, artificial intelligence. We've talked a lot about how it's evolved, what is the potential, but it's time now to talk about what works and what doesn't work about this technology. As always, we'll start first with the maze. Now, with all of the AI benefits which it brings, there are also some concerns associated. For instance, ethical considerations. That's always important, and that's very much on top of mind for people. We're seeing some of the big tech names talk about it as well.
We are talking about it. I mean, man versus machine, right? But talk about the possibilities. I'm really excited about the way it can streamline so many business workflows.
Yeah. While it's streamlining those workforce, now, there are concerns about what happens with the content ownership and privacy, because it is using a lot of data. We don't know, where the responsibility lies.
But that's something for the regulators to definitely look at. But just consider how it can automate so many routine, mundane tasks. It can do to, the intellectual jobs what the Industrial Revolution did to machines.
And the direct fallout of that, Mangalam, as we always talk about, you're automating jobs, which means almost 300 million full-time jobs could be lost to automation, and that is the estimation now. It could increase in future.
It could increase in future, but, at the same time, what could also increase the fair amount of labor productivity.
Yes.
So optimization and efficiency is what we're looking at.
We are, but for a lot of these players to develop, they have to make investments, and currently there are no monetization opportunities for these AI service providers. How that impacts the industry in this future, we've got to see.
And once that happens, it can also actually give rise to a fair amount of new jobs, new profiles like prompt engineers, etc.
Sure, it can. It could do that. But, like I said, there's insufficient funding as well for AI technologies and solutions. You have the big players making big investments in their own platforms, but outside of that, there's precious little.
There is, but you think about the possibilities of the generation of new business applications that it can bring. So many tools that can be created over and above AI as the platform. 94% of business leaders say AI is critical to their success over the next 5 years. And this is a Deloitte report. Furthermore, PwC predicts that labor productivity improvements alone could account for over 55% of the overall GDP growth.
While we're talking about all of this growth and automation, the lack of technical skills are also a concern, because the nature of jobs is going to change drastically thanks to AI.
All right, so that's about man versus machine. Let's see who wins out there. But what it really does is brings us to the bigger question. Artificial intelligence, is it a transformative technology, or could it be a threat to jobs, privacy, and humanity? All right, so the yays, mays, the bigger question asked. So let's get Raghav and Abhinav back on our set. You guys have been waiting for a very long time, listening to us ration out both the pros and cons of artificial intelligence. And the bigger question, is AI a transformative technology, or is it a threat to jobs, humanity, and the economy?
I think it's a time frame problem, right? I think next 15, 20 years, it's transformative, because we have not reached AGI yet, which is artificial general intelligence.
Okay.
So it's still interesting, right? So it's going to enable a lot.
There's a question mark on our faces. Yeah. What do you mean by AGI?
So AGI is the AI of the Matrix or the Terminator, right? The all-powerful, all-controlling AIs, which understand in general, right?
I see.
We are right.
That's 15 years away.
It was 50 years away, but yes, now I would say maybe 15, 20 years away.
Or even lesser, I think.
Yeah,
I would say.
We'd fear for that.
That brings us to the question. We had some of the biggest tech names in the world sign this open letter saying perhaps AI is, sort of developing a little too fast for us to understand what the repercussions of that are going to be. Yep. Do you think we need to pause and think back before this explosive technology disrupts more jobs, disrupts other things we may not be able to realize right now?
Yeah, I think it's very hard to implement anything like this, right? Who stops someone from going in their backyard and continuing the development? So in fact, it's going to create kind of a hidden arms race where everyone's developing their own pieces without telling anyone. So it's very impractical. And Musk and all have themselves started their own AI ventures, right? So it's more a means to, I think, slow everyone else down till they catch up.
So what about the end game of this? I mean, what is the capital end game? How do things, evolve?
So when you look at it, there's two levels, right? The infrastructure layer is going to be heavily capital, and that's where you see Microsoft with OpenAI and Google and maybe Amazon with Titan. These three are sort of trying to own the entire game. But it still allows a lot of developers to build use case specific, right? We've taken the enterprise as a use case. There are folks which have taken travel as a use case. So I think that's where you're going to see an explosion which the capital guys can't control, because that's where you really need to understand the user, the use case. So I think that's going to be the two-tier kind of system develop out here.
Well, we'll see how these use cases develop, and there's so much more to do. But before I let you go, one last question. We were talking about without any human intervention, you have the AI making decisions for you. What is the immediate repercussion of that? Is that already starting to play out in the world?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a concept called thought-based models, right? Where the AI reasons with itself to decide the next step.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT, you kind of give one prompt, next answer comes back. But imagine if it's thinking of the next action and then taking it.
Should I approve this insurance or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, okay, what are the 5 steps I need? Then I need to do this. Then, okay, in that 5 steps, what I need to do next? And it just does everything at the end of it.
All right, so the only conclusion that I get is it's not man versus machine, it's man with machine, and that's extremely powerful. To give you one example before we wrap up on the show, there was a lot of artificial intelligence used in making of today's episode, and that included the bigger question as well. Artificial intelligence told us what happens to it. Is it a transformative technology or not? I think man with machine. On that note, we should take your leave. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Raghav Abhinav, for joining us.
For your time here, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.